How's it going, John?
It's going. Hey, Eric. It is going well tonight.
It's going. Good.
Well,
good.
that it's going, which now I'm going to have to leave in there, was actually that the recording was going, not that things are going okay.
Yes.
But that's okay. It's all good.
We hit go.
Hey, it's all good. I'll leave that in now. So, did you have a fantastic week?
I now
all streaks,
it's a
all
challenge.
streaks have to end.
It's no, it was enjoyable.
Oh, okay.
It was enjoyable. We ended up going to the auto show over the weekend. The Portland Auto Show was in town, and got to sit in the new little Ford Maverick, which is a vehicle I thought, hey, that might be fun. It's a small truck.
Uh-huh.
And when I sat in it, it's very small.
Oh.
It's like a car. It's like a sedan.
Yeah.
With a truck bed. You know. But it's a nice little vehicle. It's really nice inside.
What brand had the S10? Chevy S10?
Chevy, yeah, the Chevy S10.
We had one of those, like a super little one, and for a very short period of time, but like early 80s. It was.
Oh yeah.
It was very small.
It was a truck,
but it was truck adjacent. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're not gonna buy a Maverick?
So I found out at the auto show because I had gone to the car dealer and said, "Hey, I just want to get on the list." And they're like, "Well, you give $500 and we'll get you on the list." And then when they open the orders, we'll call you and we'll let you, pre-order one. And it's like fully refundable. You can back out anytime. Well, I found out from the guy at the auto show, or actually it was the lady at the auto show, that they're actually not going to reopen orders. They are booked through 2023. So they're not opening until September, at which point you'll be ordering 2024 models. So.
And are they in September going to have their Lightning Maverick?
That is the rumor. It is not officially announced, and I specifically asked about that one.
Yeah. And
they said Ford is aggressively going the electrification route to the point of the lovely wife's new vehicle, the Ford Edge, is made in a certain factory. They're discontinuing the Edge and converting that factory over to an electric vehicle one. So the Edge will no longer be made. But they haven't said what they're going to build in it yet.
Okay.
So that's the rumor, is it'll be a fully electric little Ford pickup, which for the size and what it does is like the perfect size. I mean, it feels like that's where they should have started with their fully electric pickups.
Yeah,
it's kind of small
doing the big Lightning.
Yeah, you've got $100,000 F-150 that can power your house.
Yeah, although
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Okay, well,
we'll see.
Yeah, you should buy something else, and then maybe I'll buy the Maverick. I don't know.
I'll get on the list.
Yeah, well, you know how long it'll take me to get off my butt and actually do that, maybe. But
you need to do a long road trip in your truck, so you can get your 300,000 miles, so you can finally get that's the only excuse you have for not getting a new vehicle.
It is the only excuse I have. But did I mention on the podcast? I know I told you when we went to lunch, but did I mention on the podcast that my odometer is not working? And
I hereby decree it's hit 300,000 miles. You're absolved, my friend.
I am really disappointed. I mean, it's not working, but I drove for like 70 miles the other day that I know, because I drove from the coast to home, and my odometer read 9 miles. And I was like, oh.
That's not accurate.
So I watched on another longish drive, and it stopped after about 30 miles. Just no. I was like, no wonder it's been going. It has felt like it has been a long time and that it was going really, really slowly. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Well, we'll see. We'll see. It's all good. It's all good. So this would have been the year for me to go to the auto show. I've never been, and I know you go every year, but I've never been because I'm really not a car person. But yeah,
they had a bunch of electric vehicles there. It was kind of fun to see the different.
I want full electric.
Vehicles.
I want full electric. There's like, yeah. So I'm ready. Well, I'm not ready, but I'm not going to buy another dinosaur mobile for sure. Now I'll have to eat my words, but we'll see. Hey. Well, anything else fun or interesting happen this week?
So my daughter broke her foot playing volleyball, and this is the daughter who, when she was little, was jealous of the kids who broke things and got to have casts and wear boots and walk around on crutches, and she just wanted to be cool and do that. And so I was teasing her. Now that she's 19, she finally got her, preteen wish of,
How's it feel now?
She is not thrilled about this. But
yeah, like crutches, full on crutches, or just a boot.
So a boot on, she can't be on it for 2 weeks, and then she with crutches for another 4 weeks, and the boot. But she doesn't need a cast, so it's she can't be on it for 2 weeks. So it's all good. She'll survive. She'll survive.
Yeah. Not good. Well, in the themes of things that have long outlived their natural life, I replaced the TV in my bedroom.
The 9,000-pound plasma?
No,
not that one?
That did get replaced a while back. No, but this is a it was a 2007 model LCD or LCD, I guess. And it was one of the ones that had like, the very big bevels.
Right.
And yes, it still worked. It was a 720i, I think. And yeah, it worked. It worked, but my wife says to me, well, so I had a universal remote that is circa the same era. And that remote has been, it was a Logitech Harmony, and what is that? 17 years of using the same remote. There were many buttons on that remote that you could not read what they said. They had long since been worn off, but we knew where the buttons were, and it was good. And I had replaced, it had a rechargeable lithium-ion battery in it, but you could buy those on Amazon. I'd replaced that a couple times when the battery ceased charging, and blah 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 blah. So my wife's like, we need a new remote, and because one of the there had been a couple buttons that we had learned to work around, but finally one of the important ones stopped working, and so my wife's like, we need a new remote, and I was like, all right. I'd put it off because me, I put things off until really, because my first answer is like, no, and then my second answer is like, yeah, let's see if we can live with it. Anyway, no, we needed a new remote. So for want of this is like the story of the horseshoe. For want of a nail, a horseshoe was lost for want of a horseshoe. So I now have a new Apple TV, a new remote, a new Apple TV, a new TV, and a new Wi-Fi to Ethernet bridge, because the wireless I think it was the wireless adapter in the Tableau was kind of flaky or something. So Anyway, so by the
Okay.
time I got done, like redoing everything, my wife's like, all I asked for was a remote. but
Well,
you know,
yeah,
um,
of course. You
but
start with the remote, and you're like, I need a remote. Oh, I need an Apple TV.
well, yeah,
But
I
I
mean, I
can't
had
stand the Apple TV remote. That's not a real remote.
no.
So we need a real remote.
That just went straight into the drawer next to the bed.
And then if I'm going to get an Apple TV 4K, I can't have a 720i TV anymore. I need to get a good TV, right? I mean, I can see the thought process. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm following along.
I had to, yeah, and the place where it had to sit, like it had to overhang one of the edges. But TVs these days don't come with center mounts. They only come with like feet on the edges. So I had to buy a stand on Amazon and a Visa stand and put it on that too. And so, but it all mostly works. And now I have a smart TV, so it's snooping on us, which is also awesome, I'm sure. But yeah. But yeah, it was I'm like, okay, at least the one thing that didn't get replaced there, literally the one thing that didn't get replaced there was the Blu-ray player, which doesn't ever get used anymore these days. I mean, I still plugged it in, but like who watches Blu-rays these days? So, it is what it is. But there you go. The nice thing is that in much the same, it's a little bit larger footprint. But not egregiously larger, and I can actually read it now, which is nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Although that's probably not the TV's fault; that's probably my eyes' fault. But hey. So yeah, if you want an old TV, I haven't yet dropped it off at Goodwill, but
nope.
Yeah, I know.
No, I've got an old TV in our room that I keep thinking I just need to get rid of. We just don't watch TV in the bedroom anymore. So
yeah,
it's
everything's
just
on tablets.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
whatever.
Anyway, well, there we go.
Yeah.
Well, that was all fun. So that was a weekend. It had taken a couple of weeks to collect all the parts together. and then Saturday we went to Costco, picked up the TV. Ironically, I had already had the stand and all the other stuff delivered before I went and got the TV. So,
right.
Anyway.
Okay.
All right. Well, that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Security?
Mostly.
Okay. Kinda. So I threw something in Followup here because I saw it this week, and we've talked about this 3 times before. So the Ubiquiti, quote unquote hack that wound up being from an insider.
Right.
That we talked about in April of 21. So almost 2 years ago, in episode 173 was a Krebs article that we had tagged. But of course, then in December of 21, it came out that it was actually an insider who was charged. Krebs apologized very much like almost a year later, only 4 months ago, September, which we talked about in episode 247.
Right.
And now the gentleman, Sharp, Nicholas Sharp, has pled guilty and will be sentenced on May 10th of 2023. But
I didn't realize he was from Portland, Oregon. Oh,
you didn't? Yes.
I guess we knew that before, but I must have forgotten.
Well, it's been a while. But yes, he's from Portland. And let's see, was there anything else? I pulled out a few other things from this article, but it was mostly just a synopsis of what happened. He had attempted to evade it by VPNing using a private VPN, but an outage had revealed it had logged his original actual IP address.
Yeah.
And then
oops.
Yeah, so he tried to extort them, And then when they refused to pay, he published some of the files online. Then when the FBI talked to him, he basically lied to the FBI and then tried to pass himself off as a whistleblower.
Right.
Blah, 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 blah. So anyway, so he has now, let's see, this is the paragraph. Sharp has now pled guilty to charges of wire fraud, making false statements to the FBI, and transmitting a program to a protected computer that intentionally caused damage. He faces a total maximum of 35 years in prison and is scheduled to be sentenced on May 10th, 2023. So, there you go.
Okay.
Maybe not quite the end of that story, but pretty darn close, I think. So.
Don't do bad things, folks. Crime doesn't pay.
Yeah. Exercise judgment. Something like that. All right.
Yeah.
How about a topic? What did you bring me tonight?
All right. So this one is, I stumbled across this one on a Stacy on IoT.com. So she has been covering technology and IoT specifically for several decades, a couple decades, for Fortune, PC Mag, MIT Technology Review, various other IoT related things. And she has an article this week on the US secretly, and I'm air quoting secretly, passed a medical cybersecurity law.
Inadvertent law.
We've talked about IoT and security. The S in IoT stands for security several times in the past. Well, this one, apparently, during that whole end of the year rush to pass the federal spending bill, that, I don't know if you ever saw any of the 4,000 pages of stuff no one ever read. In that $1.7 trillion of spending, there is a section on making medical devices more secure. So the law requires that any medical device that is connected to the internet get pre-market approval before being released to the public, and requires several other cybersecurity practices, such as a software bill of materials. But the most notable part of the law, and I'm kind of paraphrasing from the article here, is that a company cannot sell a connected medical device without first showing it to the Food and Drug Administration and proving that should any security vulnerabilities arise, it has plans to monitor, update, and fix the device.
Interesting, especially in light of that article I did a couple weeks ago about the eye implant, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And so it's kind of, again, kind of more paraphrasing, an acknowledgement that the government has realized self-regulation isn't working when it comes to cybersecurity. And so they're taking the steps to add laws and regulations to force industries into paying attention and addressing the issue. It's probably a good thing. I'm sure medical device companies are not thrilled about this because it's just more hoops that you have to jump through. I think it probably has I don't want to say negative effect, but will probably have an impact on innovation in the area, right? Because you now, the cost of doing something has gone up. But anyways, so
I wonder what the definition of medical device is probably really important there.
Yeah.
And I think there's a big difference between a scale or something that measures something non-invasively.
Right. Yeah.
The picture on the article is of a what are those called? A pulse ox or something monitor measures pulse and blood oxygenation. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, anything that I think of it probably more. It's more serious if whatever it is, it's a read-write operation. If it's just reading data, from you as a human, probably, and there's a vulnerability, okay. Not good, but not horrible. When the right operation happens on you as a human by dispensing more drugs,
inject insulin now,
or whatever it is,
inject insulin now.
When that right operation happens, that's when the vulnerabilities matter. And apparently there's some other things that it's did. It's closed some loopholes. It added some funding to the FDA to be able to support this, but we'll see how this goes. Anyways, I thought it was a very interesting article. There's also a companion podcast that goes along with it, IoTpodcast.com or Stacy on IoT. You can find it on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. I was listening to it earlier, and it's a great podcast too. So there's my an article with a bonus, Stacy on IoT.com, as well as the IoTpodcast.com.
Okay.
Something I'm adding to my my regular list of things I listen to.
Okay. Very
there you
cool.
go.
Very cool. Okay. Well, I brought 2 items today, other than the follow-up. But the first is a short thing, but it's just that,
And now I'm hungry.
Yeah, I mean, bad guys need to have like standards, and you don't go after Five Guys.
The burger place.
So, evidently Five Guys got hit with ransomware this week, or it was exposed this week that they got hit. So, I think that it's a bridge too far. It's a burger too far. Yeah, there really wasn't much in this in this article other than basically a screenshot of a data dump from BlackCat ransomware. That they shared a screenshot of the data they quote allegedly stole from the company. Here's the quote. Threat actors said this was the, quote, first dump of data, hinting there would be more. BlackCat hasn't specified whether the victim has been given a deadline to pay the ransom. The gang shared this screenshot indicating the data stolen was from 2021. It goes on to say, attackers breached Five Guys servers on September 17th, 2022. An investigation revealed threat actors accessed information submitted to the company in connection with the employment process. So, interesting. Let's see. Judging from the screenshot taken, they managed to access banking statements, international payroll data, information about recruitments, and audit information. So, and really that was the only other bit of data I pulled out was more about the ransomware itself. It says ALPH5, ALPHV. /BlackCat ransomware was first observed in late 21 and was noted for using the Rust programming language. I think we might have actually talked about that
at the time. I do think we mentioned that.
According to the cybersecurity analyst Anozer Way, the group was responsible for approximately 12% of all attacks in 2022. So that was also interesting for really the scope of some of these. Okay, so that was the short one. My second was I had thrown a link into Slack about a new ESXiArgs ransomware attack. That I saw the link from the Risky Biz newsletter from Catalan. Yep. But just in the last day or so, there's kind of been a second wave that changes how the ransomware encryption is behaving. So it's even worse at the moment. But it came from, the early indications at least were that Let's see. The devices were breached using an old VMware SLP. It was a service location protocol. I didn't bring.
Okay.
Service location or locator, I think. Anyway, but the troublesome thing at the moment is that some victims have stated that SLP was disabled on their devices and they were still breached and encrypted. It says last Friday, a massive and widespread automated ransomware attack encrypted over 3,000 internet-exposed VMware ESXi servers using a new ESXiArgs ransomware. One of the articles I read about this said that there were a number of hosting providers, and particularly in France. France was the first to really notice this because of some providers there.
Mm.
But let's see. What else about this? Oh, so what's different in the first version? It would look for particular files, but for large files, it would compute basically a step size that, it would encrypt a megabyte of data and then skip a bunch of data and then come back, encrypt another megabyte. But it meant that there was a decryptor available that would be able to recover a significant fraction of data. So it says on a 4.5 gigabyte file, it would generate a size step of 45, causing the encryptor to alternate between encrypting 1 megabyte of the file and then skipping 45 megabytes. So only 1/45 of the file or 1/46 of the file would actually be encrypted. But just in the last day or so, a new version of the ransomware appears to be circulating that changed that step size or size step routine to just hard code it to 1. And so even for large files, it basically encrypts 50% of the file. So it makes it even, you're less likely to recover a significant part of the data. And obviously that breaks the previous recovery tools too. So that's that. So the net of this is ongoing right now. I doubt anybody listening to this is managing ESXi servers, but we've talked about them before. But maybe you're if you have a virtual machine in a sort of,
for testing
or nth tier hosting provider, not AWS or GCP, it's possible. And really, like, your ESX servers should not be exposed to the internet, but it will not be the first time. So,
yeah,
Shodan's your friend.
Or not your friend, depending on.
So anyway, that was my second one. Kind of a active campaign right at the moment.
Okay.
There you go. I didn't see anything about like if they mentioned the strain of ransomware. I didn't see it in that article, or I didn't pull it out at least. But there you go.
Okay.
All right. How about something fun?
All right, my something fun is something I stumbled across. It is a new form of ice, and the clickbait headline is "A new form of ice discovered may shake up our understanding of water."
It wouldn't stir it,
and this new type of ice they've discovered more closely resembles liquid water than any other known ices, and we'll see what that is. Now, the first thing that came to my mind was
I was making a shaken, not stirred, for our understanding joke, but that's okay.
I missed it. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Because when I read it,
explaining jokes always makes them funnier.
Well, Now, my nice transition into my isn't that just a Slurpee joke? Kind of got stomped on as well. Anyways, this newly discovered ice is amorphous, meaning that it's like sand. Ooh. So it is rare on Earth, but apparently it's the main type of ice found in space because the colder the environment, the ice doesn't have enough thermal energy to form crystals. So it's just like sand, but it's ice, and it behaves like a liquid. So there's this whole, it's in scitechdaily.com.
Interesting.
And so they have named this new ice medium density amorphous ice, so MDA, and it apparently looks like a fine white powder and may exist inside ice moons of the outer solar system, as tidal forces from gas giants such as Jupiter and Saturn may exert similar shear forces on ordinary ice as those created by ball milling. Oh, so how they created it here on Earth, I skipped that whole part, is
it is shaken.
They put it in a jar with steel balls, and then they shook it up, but the jar was cooled to negative 200 degrees centigrade. So you're shaken, not stirred.
But it's the ice that's getting shaken, not the drink.
Yes.
That's ironic. Okay.
So
it's just moving up a one rung in the phases of matter. Okay.
That's right. So
I like it.
Anyways, there's some interesting ideas, this whole, when they found that, like, when the MDA, this medium density amorphous ice, was warmed up and recrystallized, it released an extraordinary amount of heat, meaning it could trigger tectonic motions and ice quakes in the kilometers thick covering of ice moons such as Jupiter's Ganymede, for example. I was reading the article there. Anyways, I thought this was funny because I really, really, after reading it, wanted to go get a Slurpee from 7-Eleven.
Yeah. So. Sorry, I'm glancing through this. It says, researchers propose the newly discovered ice may be the true glassy state of liquid water. Mm-hmm. That is a precise replica of liquid water in solid form, the same way that glass in windows is the solid form of liquid silicon dioxide. That is awesome. That's an interesting analogy.
It's fun stuff.
Okay,
so there you go. There's my something fun.
That is something fun.
Go get a Slurpee.
Okay, yeah. Isn't that the what do they call that, ball ice? The ice that's in like Sonic.
Oh yeah. Or Dippin' Dots. That's the other thing I was thinking of.
Yeah.
The ice cream, the Dippin' Dots ice cream, where it's just basically nitrogen blown cream. They blow nitrogen on cream, and anyways.
Okay. Anyway, okay, that's fun. That's cool.
All right.
That's cool.
John has something fun.
Okay, hypothetically. What did I... Oh, okay. So, yeah. So, this is kind of a duplicate something fun-ish. Because I was like, have I ever used this for something fun? And I did. In episode 12. So, I'm going to say that the statute of limitations has expired and that I can reuse this something fun.
That's right.
It's not precisely
5 years ago.
Anyway. I know, right? You can have fun more than once in 5 years. I mean, the same thing can be fun. Anyway, whatever. So this is a visual capitalist. So I have continued getting emails from them, and I open them up occasionally for evidently more than 5 years. But this is a particular visual capitalist from a couple of weeks ago that is about where are the working poor living, and it is the visualization is a funnel that shows the decrease in, what do they call them? Extreme poverty from 1991 to 2021. So 30 years. And and the world went from 808 million employed persons living in extreme poverty to 224. So almost a factor of 4. Not quite, but let's see, let me read the subtitle here. Working poor are employed people who live in households that fall below standard absolute international poverty line of $1.90 a day. The number of poor workers has decreased substantially since 1991, especially in many parts of Asia. As of 2021, the working poverty rate is the most prominent in sub-Saharan Africa. So, actually, if you look at this, the most dramatic reduction has been in Eastern Asia. Like, dramatic.
Like, down to 0.
That has been the story of China. Like, literally, I think, lifting can't quite be 1 billion because it's about half. It was almost half of that before. So, call it 400 million people down to, something very small, insignificant on the lower chart. Whereas, and all the other ones, the Latin America, Southeast Asia, have reduced significantly. Even Southern Asia has reduced significantly. Sub-Saharan Africa, if anything, has actually grown a little bit. So, and then it breaks down in the article goes into details on kind of where and what and everything else. But, I have continued to find this, I think we've used our world in data for something fun a couple times. And I like these things that make me think and that use data to prove a point. And I also, our world in data has shown this a couple times too, but as frustrated as I am many times with how things are going, sometimes the progress that humanity as a whole has made in the last few decades is really quite good along a number of axes. So, anyway, I thought that was something fun.
Cool.
There you go.
All right. Well, I guess we're done.
Call it a show.
Okay.
There you go, man.
Have a good night, John.
Until next week. I'll see you later.
I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.